Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about the Banshees of Inisherin, if I pronounced that correctly. Sorry if I mispronounced it. And this movie is directed by Martin McDonagh, and it just came out somewhat recently, like a few months ago from me recording this, and I just got around to seeing it, and I thought this movie was great. The story for this movie is really simple. It's just about two friends who start to have issues with one another, and the movie kind of just goes down this dark path, and it takes place in the 1920s, and it's a really interesting story, and the way things are presented, it's all very well handled, and I love the story and where it goes, and the characters are great, the performances are great, and Colin Farrell, he's really great. And this movie it's a dark comedy. There's drama and there's comedy, and the comedy in this movie is very funny. But unlike something like In Bruges and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and From Memory, Seven Psychopaths, this one, it doesn't have as much humor as those other three movies from memory. It's more on the dramatic side, and it's a bit more serious than those other three from memory. If I were to rewatch those three back to back, I might feel a little differently about this comment, but this is just how I feel now. And it was an interesting direction, and I didn't mind it, and I thought it helped out the experience. And the movie looked great, and I never felt as though we were on a set. It always felt like real locations, and it all felt very authentic with the accents. I never had a problem with anyone's accent, sorry. And there's quite a bit in this movie to interpret, and the movie definitely wants you to see it multiple times in order to get the full experience out of it. And that's one thing that I really like about this movie, is that there's a lot to read into, and it always kept me thinking about it while I was watching it, and even after I was done watching it, it just stuck with me. And that's usually the sign of a great movie, is whenever if it sticks with you and you're always thinking about it. That can be a good thing. I mean, it can also be a bad thing when you're just tearing it apart, and you just can't stop yourself, and it's just, okay, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't work about it, this is just a mess, and you can just tear it to shreds. Whereas this movie, I don't feel that way. I feel as though everything was really well thought out, and everything was developed properly, and it gives you enough to read into without it being like super complex, and you can interpret the film in multiple different ways. Sorry. Overall, I just think this movie's really great. I love the themes, I love the tone, I love the characters, the performances, and the music was good in the movie, and it worked appropriately, and it always hit the emotions that it was intending to. And I did think that the ending for this movie was great, and everything came together very well, and it left me satisfied overall. And I would definitely recommend this movie, especially if you liked Martin McDonagh's other movies, because if you like those movies, then I don't see why you wouldn't like this movie. But if you don't like any of those three movies I mentioned earlier, then this is not going to be a movie for you. But for me personally, I just really love what this movie explores, and everything that it's saying. The dialogue's very good, and it's always entertaining throughout. And I would highly recommend that you check this movie out. And in terms of issues that I have with it, there wasn't really anything that stood out to me that pulled me out of the experience. I might say something different if I were to see it a second time, but the only thing that I guess I would say is holding it back a bit would be that I would need to see this movie again just to really know how I feel about everything. I do this sometimes, like immediately from my first viewing, I would give a movie a 10 out of 10, but sometimes I like to hold off on that until I see it a second time to really know how I feel, just in case some things don't work for me as well, or there was something that I didn't even notice or pick up on that really sticks out to me now, and that would be the only thing And there would be one tiny thing that I would say pulled the movie down a little for me, but unfortunately I can't say what that is because I don't want to spoil anything. That's about all I can really say about it without getting into spoilers. And it was great. Hits the emotions that it wants to, and it gave me everything that I wanted out of a movie. So definitely check it out if you have the time. And with all that being said, I'm going to give The Banshees of Inisherin a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of The Banshees of Inisherin, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.